Well, here we go then.
The amazing Katt Lowe.
I believe it is. There she is, the one and only, our beloved
One
Katt
and
Lowe.
only.
Hi, Kat.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Thanks.
It's so nice to see you.
You too, you too.
Got
All
it.
right, all
Well,
right. So,
hello, Kat.
hello, how are you? Good to
uh,
see you both.
so good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are honored to have you here. Little intro here. So you not only have 20 years of experience at HMI, but Reiki master, master life coach, Qigong, EMF balancing, past life regression, therapeutic imagery master,
Mhm.
spiritual mentoring. Did I miss anything besides the AOS mind body psychology degree?
Um,
I don't think
nope,
so.
not for the last 21 years.
It's been a
That's
good
where I've been.
run.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I've been. Absolutely. Yes.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah. Did you say intuitive? Did you bring up intuition? I don't remember.
Did
Um,
I miss intuitive master mentoring?
oh, maybe no. I bet you said it. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tina.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna leave it all on me. Okay, Kat.
All
uh,
right.
I
Tell everybody how
yeah.
you actually fell into this world of helping others be their
How
best
do you
selves.
find HMI? That's the real question. I mean, it's like I'm going to transport you if you just close your eyes, visualize or imagine, picture yourself in the 501 indoctrination. Like, how did you find your way? What was the course in 501, Tina, where we talked about your path? I forget what it was. It was part of 501. But Kat, what's your path to HMI? Like, where's that come from?
So where it comes from, as you guys know, I am a musician. And so I would say the morning of my life, which really feels like a past life right now.
Mm,
In my
right.
past life, I was a musician and played in bands and I worked in the music industry as for record companies and record distributors. I played with some of my heroes locally in Los Angeles, Hollywood, all of that. And I really thought that's where, for the longest time, that's where I was going to go. I mean, I would stay in the music business. That was my life. I was going to rock around the world and all of that. And then the music business crashed like really badly and they weren't signing acts like mine anymore. And that was okay because I worked with, played with my heroes who became some of my best friends, and I really got the validation I think I must have been seeking. But I also saw the ups and downs of being in the music business, and it's a big roller coaster, and it was a one I wanted off of, and which was really strange. I didn't expect that to happen ever, but suddenly it just didn't feel good anymore. And I like to call that an awakening, where the shift happens in life. And I knew I was feeling down and about it all. And I was talking to my brother about it, he was 4 years younger than me, born a day before me. So it was our birthdays in October. And I was talking to him about it. And he was feeling the same way, like, why are we here? What are we doing with our lives? And it's like, gosh, she's feeling the same way. It's so strange, like to be in this place in your life where nothing seems fun or exciting. And which is crazy when I tell you I have a band, right? But it gets old. It can get old as well. And this is what's amazing is what we do. It does never gets old. And so ultimately, not religious, but very spiritual. And I had heard, you can say, hello, what's going on here? So I thought, might as well give that a try. I haven't tried that yet. So I basically not talking to the universe, or actually, when I remember it now, it really was the female side of God, which Sylvia Brown talked a lot about. And I'm like, hey, this is me. I'm sure you know who I am. And things aren't feeling so great, I'm not feeling that inspiration, motivation, what have you, and feeling pretty down, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with my life. So if I'm supposed to continue doing music, great, let me know, but show me what I'm here to do, or take me, not suicidal at all, just bored to tears, literal,
Hmm.
literal. And so ultimately, within 3 days, I went back to this job I was in, and he's telling me about his sister who's going to a school in San Francisco, and she's going to be a hypnotherapist. And I'm like, I've always been interested in that. I
Hmm.
thought, I've never been interested in that. Why did I ever say that? The only thing I was ever interested in was past life regression. But suddenly I had this mad interest. And when I got home, I started to, I believe Yahoo, I don't think we had Google yet, schools around me. HMI was 8 to 9 miles away from my house out in the valley. And I walked in 3 days from there. And then it was 3 days, it was a 333, right? So 3 days from there, I walked in, and 3 days later, they had a free past life regression class,
Huh.
and I signed up, and I never left. And I really understand now that was surrender, which I didn't know before. I was always trying to control how my life was supposed to be, thinking that's what it was supposed to be. When I finally said, show me what I'm here to do, that is when they're like, finally, here you are. Not saying I wasn't meant to be doing music during that time, because it led me all, all that rehearsal, all that songwriting, all that playing totally plays into how I do hypnotherapy. So instead of writing a 3-minute song, I'm writing somebody a 20-minute song when
Mm.
I'm working with them hypnotically. So it all literally just all went together, and I've never left HMI, and I walked in there in 2004. So it's 21 years. Isn't that
Wow.
amazing? Yeah. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so here I am teaching there, and ever since after I graduated, and I just love it so much. Yeah, love it so much.
Thank you for
Wow.
sharing your vulnerability with us. I love that saying, shift happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice play on the other S word, but uh,
Right.
it seems to be a common theme with people that we're talking to about there's something that shifts inside of them that leads them. And I like to think that's our intuitive voice, our higher voice. I've grown through religion into spirit, and
Mhm.
spirit doesn't have a sex. I know that there's Earth Mother and Father and like all of that, but to me,
Right.
it's just source.
Yeah.
I want to go back just a tiny bit. You said it a couple of times, being able to play with your heroes. Tina and I both being music lovers. Who are some of those heroes that you got to perform with?
So Cherie Curry and Sandy West from the Runaways, who became a couple of my best friends. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Very
So
cool.
Wow.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Joan Jett's first band, Lita Ford's first band. And but I mean, they would join me, I would join them. It wasn't like we were in a band together, so to speak. And then Cherie went on to produce my CD and be one of the best friends ever. Sandy is on the other side now,
Mhm.
and I still feel her presence. And so I was very, very, very blessed and able to do that. It was definitely they're definitely part of, I believe we travel in many soul groups, and they're definitely one of the many soul groups that I've
Mhm.
traveled in. And I got very, very lucky, very lucky. But it was that whole, when you meet them, it was as if I've known them my entire life.
Yeah.
And that's those kinds of friendships that no matter what, you feel like blood, like you're really, together.
Me and this one.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
5 years now.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say soul group. I believe that we come here and we're running through people, in groups of people, working out karmic debts and whatnot. But they're always in these interesting groups where there's this instant click of, oh, I see you, I recognize you, I know you. And that's a very powerful thing. I think a lot of people, once they start really getting into their life, and their purpose of life, that's when they really start finding those soul groups,
Hmm.
that really propel them forward. What
Right.
do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it starts with your family. I absolutely
Mm-hmm.
think the family you're raised in is part of your soul group for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason. And we have these different lessons, but I like to look at it like my family is my first soul group, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
my rock and roll family is my music family is my second soul group. And HMI is
Mm-hmm.
my third soul group, so to speak. And now I have my own soul group that, through my Connect Within, site where we get together once a week, and that's another soul group, but we've all intermingled in different ways. So I think we travel, yeah, in many different ways. And yes, I absolutely believe in karmic debt and all of those things too. And so some of our hardest people who you might have had the harder times with were some of your biggest teachers and teaching us lessons. And perhaps we were like that to them in another life. And that's the part that we have to remember. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Speaking of your soul groups, you said that you have a group. So do you want to talk more on that? Is it available to anyone? Is there a prerequisite?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No prerequisites. The only thing would be if it was a current HMI student, they have to wait until they graduate in order to join. But it's an awesome group where we talk all things intuitive, Reiki, even hypnosis. We do guided meditation. So the first hour is just chatting about whatever it is that they want to focus on. So we move within energy and intuitive and talk about hypnosis too, as far as we're doing the guided meditations. Right now we're starting real coming up here in a couple of weeks, the tarot, and just going through that slowly but deeply so they understand, because we know that is a life journey. It's not a weekend course only. And so it's just really getting together and watching people continue to expand upon their gifts, and everybody has them, and learning how to tap in and hone in on them. And then they do. So the first hour is all kind of just this whole thing of lecturing and talking and sharing all of it in lessons. And then the second hour, they get to practice, which is really wonderful. So I put them out in Zoom rooms, and they get to share readings with each other, energy with each other, and whatever it is they want to practice, that they it's not structured in that way. And every now and then I'll throw in, like, we're working on clairaudience today, so this is go in the Zoom room and do this or what have you. And then sometimes I pull cards for them, just to give them a little reading for each one of them too, just to have fun and get them to know the cards. Yeah,
That sounds wonderful.
yeah.
And having had the pleasure of being in multiple of your classes, not only are you the master of the MP3s, because they're amazing and wonderful, but the skills and the openness that you teach is quite profound. It's very welcoming. Like you said, everybody has gifts. And those moments in there are life changing. So if somebody is looking for those moments, this is where you go.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. You've reminded me to say that in the group also, there is a ton of MP3s that they can stream, working on anything from energy to clairs to intuition to confidence. And there's a ton of, so they have the opportunity to stream those. And then I should say, we also have 3 different tiers of we'll see it if you go to Connect Within, and then you just connectwithin.com, and then you look at Soul Group. Even if they did kattlowe.com, it would take them that way. But connectwithin.com soul group, then you'll see the different tiers. So sometimes it's, the once a week, once a month, they want to get together, twice a month, they want to get together, or 5 times a month we get together and get access to all the videos and the MP3s, depending on their tier. So yeah, it's really fun. I really love it. Yeah. So
yeah. Sounds amazing. Something you said, and then Tina said it again. You said everybody has them. I'm assuming you're talking about the intuitive voice, or whatever you want to call it, that unique part of us that can be awakened and channeled. Is that am I saying it the way that how would you say that? The skill or the knowledge, the what words would you use for that? And then I have a follow-up question.
Okay. I think that everybody is intuitive. We all know, most everybody knows how to read somebody, right? So there's 3 different, we'll put it this way. Psychics read your energy, and intuitives are reading your energy to a degree. Mediums are connecting to spirit on the other side, right? And then channels are actually allowing spirit to come into their body and use their vocabulary and all of that. And they're actually allowing spirit into channel through them. So a medium is always a psychic, but a psychic isn't always a medium. Okay. So they don't always connect to spirit. I consider myself, I am a psychic intuitive medium. as well. So I can do all of that. And you think of energy workers, they're always reading energy. Okay. So our hands are reading it,
Mm.
where that can also go to clairsentience, one of the clairs, right? But then we also have clairaudience, which means that we're hearing things, and some people will hear different things and maybe see different or not see, but hear music. Even they can use music, like suddenly you start to think of a song and you're talking to somebody and that song keeps playing, and there could be a correlation, there can be a connection there. Or you hear that ring in your ear that goes up, fades in, and it fades out. That could be considered an angel connecting to you, or a guide kind of getting you to pay attention to that moment. So then you also have the one that I think is the strongest would be their claircognizance, which is that knowing, right? You just know that you don't know why you know, but you know what you know. And that means about a person or a situation, or whether or not you should stay in that room or that store, what have you. You just know when to walk out. And that's really an intuitive connection. Is you don't know how you know, but you know. That's the easiest way of saying it. And so that one, I think everybody is pretty much on board with all of it, but they don't know it. They don't realize it. That gut instinct, okay, it can be called clairsentience as well, that you have that gut instinct, your stomach starts to bother you. So I love to tune people into all of their clairs. I love for them to expand that and go further if they want. So everybody has those gifts, but a lot of them ignore it and they'll say it's just a coincidence, but it's not a coincidence,
Yeah.
right? It's not a
Yeah.
coincidence at all.
There are no coincidences.
Yeah, we are. Can I of just this little piece, I think, just to make sure I say it right, because I think it'll help. We are all antennas as well as receivers. So no matter where you are, you're always taking in information and you're always sending out information. And then each other, our auras go anywhere from 3 to 10 feet out. And even here, we're still connecting aura wise. So that's why we're automatically going, maybe today is not the day to say anything to that person, or maybe today's not the day to meet them, because we're all on different frequencies, but we tune into each other's frequencies. Yeah. And that is also how you tune into spirit, is just by dialing in the channel just a little bit into that radio frequency, so to speak. So there.
Love that.
Love it.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. The thing that keeps coming up for me, the experience I had with you in the intuitive development class that we did on Zoom was like mind blowing. You peeled back the veil for me, and a part of me that I wasn't really aware of, that like was there but not. Like I literally like did a body read with my hands over Zoom and found the area that the person that I was partnered with that was struggling. It was on the side of their belly, and it was like just blew my mind.
Wow.
So here's what I wanted to ask, like not only on a personal level, but just generally to the listeners. Like, so as a Reiki master, my understanding is that you attune people to, like, is that the attunement? You've said it a couple times today as well. Is that like you doing something with your energy to awaken somebody else's? Like, can you talk a little bit about this attunement?
For the Reiki attunements, okay, or initiations is the other word you'll hear.
Okay.
They're interchangeable. So with the attunements, really, you're being attuned to the Reiki method. It is also attuning the chakras in order to open up more to process that frequency of life force energy of Reiki. And Reiki means Rei is spiritual consciousness, Ki is life force energy. And when we're doing the attunements, it's just opening you up more. So truthfully, no matter what, you're already there. It's just bringing you up a level, right? Higher up to that, where you're going to sense it more. You're going to be aware of it more. And my belief is, if you actually schedule a Reiki attunement, a Reiki class, which then is how you get the attunement, I feel like your guides and your soul have been directed you into that class, and like, hey, this would be a good idea. You should check it out. You're going to love it. So, so there's a piece of me that always wants to, when I teach Reiki and when I do the attunement, I always feel like I am the closer. I'm not the only one doing it. Now, I believe that we have our our spiritual team, right? So we have our guides and angels, at the ascended masters that are working with us. So anytime, even doing this here, or doing a session or teaching a class, I always feel that my guides are talking through me, right? But I'm the medium, like the liaison, and so I'm translating the information that I'm getting. And I feel like when I'm doing the attunements, that there are also other guides, angels, ascended masters working with them. And I like to call myself the closer. I'm the human side of me that is actually closing up the attunement, right? I'm the one that is here in the physical that is able to do it, but I'm not the only one. And I stay out of my ego about that, if that makes sense.
Totally.
You're never the only one.
Right. No, we're never alone. It could be creepy, or it could be a wonderful if somebody realizes that, yeah, we're never alone. Yeah.
Well, having had taken the Reiki class with you, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. It's very thorough. I've taken others. I've taken another set somewhere else, and it wasn't nearly as detailed and informative as yours, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, you know me, when I teach or talk pretty much about it, I always want to give you the most, everything I can, and in the most simplest terms to make it easier. But I don't want to hide anything and act like you're going to have to wait until, I decide. When you're ready, I'll tell you. Now, I try to share as much as I can, because it might be
Right.
the only time I see this person. It might
Right.
be the only time. So I hold back. Not now, of course, there's levels and all of that, but a lot of times people hold stuff too close to the chest. And I've taken a
Right.
lot of different energy classes as well. So, I see the likenesses in all of them. One of the things you guys have probably heard me say is Qigong is really the tree. Okay.
Mm.
It's over 5,000 years of documentation that we have. And that's to exclude shamanism, which is 10,000 years. But we'll just go for the last 5,000 years. Any energy healing modality, and I've been trained in many, I have gone to, they're all taking from the Qigong tree, all branches off the Qigong tree. And so they can repackage it however they want. But no matter what, if you go deep into a deep dive of studies, you're going to find that Qigong has been saying it for 5,000 years. The difference between a lot of energy healing modalities and Reiki is that Reiki is hands-on and hands-off. Now, a lot of Reiki masters don't teach that, unfortunately, or the older versions of the Reiki masters, with respect when I say that, but it really is hands-on and hands-off. And that's an important part too, because you're touching, when you're in the body, when you're off the body, you're feeling more of the aura in a lot of ways. So that's about the difference in that.
Leads me to the question about I was blown away because when I showed up in your Zoom room for your intuitive development class, I was like open-minded, right? Because I'm open to learning. And I was just like, I just didn't know that I had the abilities that I had, that you attuned me indirectly or directly, right? The emo in me picked it up. But I was curious, have you seen, or what's your opinion, experience, thoughts around, because you just talked about, laying hands, right? Doing the energy work with people in person versus on Zoom. Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what
Oh
is,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, you get told things, right? And it becomes your belief system. So one of those things was it was always supposed to be in person. And so I held tight to that also. And then I became, we got into the pandemic, right, in 2020. So then I had a full-blown class scheduled, and I'm like, now what am I going to do? So I went into meditation, and I connected with Master Osui, who is the originator of this Reiki. And I'm like, hey, it was like over 100 years ago, right, when he started it. What do you think about that? Do you think that's okay? And I like heard him laugh and go, of course it is. I would be doing the same thing. If you can do distance healing, you can do distant Reiki. So
Mhm.
I just made a commitment. I mean, we do distant Reiki, so I can do distant attunements, but there really is no time or space. So I made the commitment to myself that if I'm going to teach it, I'm going to teach it on Zoom. I'm going to teach it exactly the way I teach it in person. So
Hmm.
again, I feel like he's with me when I'm teaching, and I don't feel that it's just me. And ultimately, I've had people who have attended my physical class, in-person class, come onto the Zoom class and then experience the initiations or attunements and go, "Ah, it was more powerful
Hmm.
at home than, on Zoom." And I think a reason for that, there's a few reasons. So when you're in a classroom and you're doing the attunement, there's like up to like, usually you don't, it's about 16 people, right? Is where I would do it. Like every month I was doing that in LA, and sometimes more, sometimes less. So here you are doing the attunement, you got the music playing, people are listening, and you're going to each person. And there is always that person that is sitting there, they're listening, like, is she going to forget me? Is she going to forget me? Because you don't go in a row, you go where you're guided to go, with each person. And so there's people coughing or moving, making some kind of noise. So there's distractions and there's
Right.
worries and concerns that they're going to be forgotten. And now here, the separate part of that, and it's still very profound. It's such a great experience. But then now they're in their own home, in their own energy field, in their own space. It's already their sacred space. And I just think it is more powerful. It's equal, if not more so. And it had to heighten all of my awarenesses too, more so in order to do it. But I find it to be equal, if not less. But I do want to say this: there are some what I call fake Reiki classes out there that say you don't need a Reiki master, or you just, schedule your attunement and just watch this video, or just at this time. And they have no connection to the Reiki master at all. They're not the teacher. They're not talking to them at all. They just watch them on video, and they have no connection to them. And I don't think that's right. So I can see a digital course, but
Right.
the attunement should always be live. It should always be live with actually seeing each other. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
people are watering it down, and that's sad to see. That's sad to see. Yeah.
There's valuable information there when it's two people back and forth or a group of people. There's valuable information to be gained by that
Yes.
experience with other people,
Yes.
especially when the person's not just a digital course.
Yeah. I'm all for a digital course.
Mhm.
I'm putting one together, but the attunement will always be live. And then there has to also be extra practices. If you're going to do one,
Mm.
to me, you also do the attunement live. And there should be, like, for me, when that's done, they take it, they'll also get a couple months into my soul group so they can do the practicing and all of that, you see. So there has to be that kind of follow-up. Otherwise, I personally think it's a disservice, if that makes,
Mhm.
yeah, a disservice. But that's me being opinionated, right? So not
I have
everybody's
opinions.
right. Not everybody's going to agree, but it's so important to have that interaction with the student, in my opinion,
Mhm.
and for them to have the interaction with each other. I think is really important too. But ultimately, the attunement must be live. That I will hold strong to.
Excellent.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't help but think of, I was talking about this in a practicum this week, that my daughter just graduated UCSB and she studied brain psychology. So she has a BS, not a BA.
Right.
And so, but the awakening of graduate school and the cost is significant. I mean, I'm super excited for her. She got into Pepperdine, but there's no way
Oh,
dad's not going to pay for graduate school. So like, the reality of how much extra education. So anyway, I got to talking about the HMI setup is incredible, right? So for 6 months, you learn all these modalities, and then you get to and practice them in the
uh-huh.
practicums, but then you get to put them into practice, actual practice with
Yes.
pro bono clients. It's by far, I hear that kind of setup in what you're saying is, the practice is vital. And now Tina and I are lucky. We're the last class to be in person.
Wow. Yeah.
But I was able to transition over Zoom pretty easily. I had a corporation I was working for at the time had switched their teleconference to Zoom. So I was super comfortable. Shelby was in my first practicum ever when we got split up into breakout rooms,
Oh,
her and
wow.
Robert, this guy Robert, who is a wonderful man, and they were both just petrified to even try. And I'm like, I'll go first. I was like
Uh-huh.
barely in 301. It just such a trip. But the
Yeah.
format of what you're talking about is like really the heart and soul of why I think HMI is still so effective over Zoom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's that continual, what I'm doing on separate from HMI is just the continual growth, weekly growth, because that's the way, for what I'm doing, the Reiki and the intuitive, that's the only way to hone your skills. And of course, to see clients. And then once you're doing hypnotherapy, it's the continual growth of seeing clients that is going to bring you what you need. But also the same thing for them too. They need to have that continual growth, but still be in a community where they can bounce things off of each other, try things off of each other, and get readings and energy healings all, and have a community. So I've created a community that can go on, yeah, forever. And I do love what we do at HMI is they have right now, they still have the the graduates can go to the Tuesday night hypnotherapy. We do the case conference.
Right.
And so that is it's a community, and it's a continual thing that happens, which I think is wonderful too. So yeah, HMI is, but we can talk HMI's brilliance, and I'm so grateful to have been, there for 21 years now, and to be able to see all those amazing students and their lives. And it just never ever gets boring, and everybody has an amazing story, and you see all the lights turn on. So as you know, being an instructor is just like such an honor and a blessing. And George's brilliance, along with the rest of the team, and John Kappas, it is the way we went online during the pandemic was seamless. And I always think
Unbelievable.
about how John must have been tapping George and going, son, you got to start recording everything. Now, George had been recording for a really long time, but not to this degree.
Right.
And so he had it all ready and with no intention of ever going full blown online. And then when he got the call, he did it. And you guys, we went on without a hitch. It literally, without a hiccup, it literally just happened. And now we get, as you know, we get so many amazing, students from across the world. And
It's
so the
grown exponentially.
yes,
It's no longer limited to how far are you from Tarzana?
right,
You
right.
know?
Yeah, exactly.
Part of LA are you in?
Right. And I love looking at HMI as like the hub, where
Mhm.
we all said,
The
okay,
mothership.
the
Yeah.
vortex, the mothership, we're all going to meet here at this time and
Mm.
remind each other of how amazing life can be and how powerful we are, and keep spreading the light and know the power of words. And that's a really important thing. Every time we do hypnosis, we are also using the power of words, which is energy. And as I say, in every religious text, pretty much it says your tool is the sharpest, your tongue is the sharpest tool in the shed. So, we can heal people with words, and
Yeah.
we can destroy people with words. So I
Isn't
think what
that the
we do as
truth?
hypnotherapists is very powerful healing, and words are energy. Yeah.
So in your sessions, is it just hypnotherapy or is it intuitive and Reiki? Like break it down for me so everybody else can know too.
Okay. So, okay.
Sorry.
So no problem. So what happens is when they go to book a session, they just do it all online. I love that. I'm very techie in those ways. And I actually love teaching over Zoom, by the way, and doing sessions over Zoom as well. And they have a choice. They can do 1 hour is one modality. So that would be, hypnotherapy, energy work, or reading, an intuitive reading. They can choose 2 modalities for 90 minutes, and then they'll get 2 things they can choose. So a lot of times it'll be Reiki and hypnosis, or Reiki and intuitive reading. So a lot of people choose the 90-minute session because they're going to get more of an experience. And I find that doing intuitive and hypnotherapy, or Reiki, I should say, and in hypnotherapy, is very powerful. Now, my intuition's always on, of course, when I'm working hypnotically with somebody.
Right.
But if they really want to dive deeper and talk to someone on the other side, or if they just really want to just go complete intuitive reading, then I do that too. So, and then of course, in straight just Reiki. Yeah. So you got to, get your 60-minute, your 90-minute, and they even have 2 hours if they want to do that too. That option.
That's a lot right there.
Yeah.
The 2 hours seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Like a
90
lot
minutes.
on you.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
No,
That's the thing. When you give a healing, you receive a healing, right? So
right?
anytime you're doing the work, I get more charged up, really. I don't get
Mhm.
exhausted. The only reason I would be exhausted is if it's just been a long day or I didn't get enough sleep or
Right.
but but when you incorporate, I just get charged up no matter whether it's hypnotherapy or reading or Reiki, to be honest. But I do limit how many people I see a day so that I don't get too drained, if that makes sense. But it's
Yeah.
not because of the actual session, it's just the amount of hours working.
Mhm.
It's interesting you brought this up, Tina. I've been having a different experience with my own energy lately. There's something that's kind of shifted. There's a frequency that I've tapped into. And like I've noticed that even during the winter when it was so, my house is so cold because the way it's set up and the sun comes up and sets on either side of the house, but the house itself is dark wood and it's cold in here. And like at the end of sessions, I've noticed that like I'm totally have like a sweat line across my chest. Like I am heated up. Is that, what do you think that, like, what is,
You can contribute that, I believe. I mean, it's up for you, but that you're doing a form of channeling, right? You don't have to totally check out to be a channel, so to speak. That's a whole other level of channeling. And it's so strange, you always hear conscious channel or unconscious channel. And conscious channeling, I feel like they change the titles or something because conscious channeling could be a version of this. Unconscious channeling is when they're kind of backing out of their body and they're not even aware of what they're doing or saying, right?
mm,
So that's just my take on it. I always wonder, why are they saying it's conscious when they're not conscious? They're not aware. So I always wonder why that got turned around. But ultimately, you're, to me, doing possibly a form of conscious channeling, right? You're working with your guides and angels, even maybe just your soul. And your soul is like, I know how to help this person. And we got to charge your body up in order to transmit that information. Because anytime you do Reiki or intuition or channeling, like full blown channeling, as you know, they get hot. They start to get hot when you're in. And so it's a form of, let's just say, energy work, no matter what.
yeah.
Okay. You're revving up your engines and you're having that energy work flow. But a lot of people are just unconscious about it and not aware that, how it's like when your client goes, wow, thank you. I've never thought of it that way. And you're like,
Mm,
in your mind, you're like, me either. Thank you. I never thought
yeah.
me either. But you said just like these words of wisdom come out of your mouth and you
Mhm.
have no idea where they came from, but it was exactly what they needed to hear.
Yeah.
That's when you're tuned in. You're tuned in
Mhm.
and as in what Abraham Hicks would say, tuned in, tapped in, tuned on, turned on, something like that. But it's when your frequency is so, you're broadcasting that information, you're connected to that energy, and however you want to look at it, whether it's your guides, your angels, your soul, God, universe,
Right.
whatever it is, you're helping them on that level. And I think that's what you're feeling is the frequency vibration.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's kind of,
go ahead, Tina.
I was going to say, it's kind of like flow state.
Yes.
It's like a psychic flow
Yeah.
state or an intuitive flow state, because you're not really conscious of, every single syllable you're saying. You're just kind of going with the flow of what is coming in and going out very quickly.
Yes.
That's how I feel that one.
Agreed. And you don't remember what you said, right? A lot of
Absolutely not.
times.
Yeah.
So if you don't take notes, then your client's like, remember when you told me blah, blah, blah? And you're like, oh. So, and that's why I tell people when I do readings or even energy work, whatever I'm telling them is just flowing through me. If I don't take notes, I won't necessarily remember because it's not me, right? I'm,
Correct.
you're saying the message you're meant to say in that time. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
flow
love
state.
it.
I like it.
Flow
Yeah.
state.
Me too. I
Yeah.
like it.
It's that word channel that for me, I have attachment to it because of our friend Grace.
Yeah.
Um, so
Amazing.
it's like channeling
Amazing. Great.
something outside of themselves, right? That I don't feel that and I don't lean into that and I don't even know how I would do. It's just kind of like I'm a nuts and bolts because I'm so fizzy, right? Like I got to have all the
Yeah.
details. Like
Yeah.
but when I'm experiencing it, that word comes to mind that I'm channeling spirit. I'm channeling an awakening for the client to see their higher self. That's really what most of
Yeah.
the work that I'm doing now is about,
Absolutely.
uncovering and helping them remember their truth. Because we
Yes.
all have it, right? It's kind of like that intuition that you're talking about that's inside of all of us. You
Yes.
know,
Absolutely.
in a 12-step program, they'll tell you that deep down inside every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God.
Right. Oh yeah. And we're all really God, right? But a lot of people don't see that, or
Yeah.
they don't understand when you say that. You're not saying
Hmm.
Jesus walking on water. You're saying that we're
Right.
all parts, essence, pieces of God. But yeah, that would be a great question to ask Grace, actually. Why channel unconscious channel to channel conscious channel? Because I think that's conscious channeling, right? And we know how amazing she is at channeling. It's phenomenal. It's
Oh,
phenomenal. Yeah.
it's phenomenal, but I like your correction. It was very good.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Her work is phenomenal. Seeing channel is amazing. And there's only two people I could really say I believe are true channels, Grace being one of them, and my friend Natalie being another, where you're just like, but they're checked out all day, right? And I like
Mhm.
to be checked in. In other words, when you're channeling, you feel checked out, I think, a lot more. So yeah, yeah. So that's what you're doing. You're doing a version of channeling. Let's just say that, a version of channeling, however you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've
Mhm.
actually put like a hand up, or like I've coming back to the intuitive development class, like that's such an imprint on me, Kat. I'm so grateful. Like I just love you
I
in
am too.
totality, but like specifically as someone that awoken something inside of me that I didn't know was there was mind blowing. So I'm
Well,
just
I'm
grateful.
honored. I'm honored. That's part of my, I think, mission is just to help people have those awakenings, so to speak. What? So
I'm
good.
in.
It makes me happy. That
Yeah.
makes, that's what it's all for. It's just, yeah, it's to spread the light and the knowing, and believe that what I love to say in hypnosis is a lot is deep down inside, you know that you're not your thoughts, you're not the body, you're not your emotions. You are this amazing soul having
Mm,
this human experience. And that means all the power, all the wisdom, all the answers, all the tools and resources reside within you. And it's time to
yes.
trust it, to believe it, and to know it to be true. And so it is. And so I do that a lot in hypnosis for people, to
Right.
remind them of who they are, because we get so domesticated, right? We get so domesticated into this world, and we forget. And I think, it happens in the beginning. Even I saw ghosts growing up and things like that. And it was scary. And then that got shifted to orbs and white light and blue diamonds and white diamonds and things like that, because I believe they were probably just like, okay, it's a little too stressful for her. Let's do it in this way. Now I would love to see the ghosts come back, but I see them within my mind, not outside of my head. But anymore, then I guess that's just the way it's going to work for me. But then, you get thrown into life, and so you kind of, a lot of people get disconnected from their intuition and their spirituality, even though it's there. They're going through their chakras, they're just kind of going through life, and then it starts to turn back on at a certain time as an adult, where you're just like, maybe I don't have to believe everything everybody has said, right? Because you get these beliefs thrown into you from your whoever, your peers, your parents, your society. And then it turns off that intuition. And then somehow your soul goes, no, 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 don't forget who you really are. And it comes back on. And it's like, it literally just comes back on. Like you just, a light switch goes on and goes,
Mm,
remember? Yeah.
There's
Anyways.
something so magnetic about you. I have to, so I'm just going to tell you because I was lucky enough to have HMI in person, and I saw you walking by, and there was just something about you. You were walking into the big 501 room,
Mhm.
and it clicked in my head. I'm like, I need to talk to her. And I don't know why. And I just beelined for you. There's just something that draws the right people to you, but you are definitely one of those people. You just magnetically draw people in. I think it's your authenticity and your sincerity, and it's definitely your knowledge.
Oh,
You have something that other people need, and they know it intuitively.
mhm.
So thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you. It's so sweet. And you just said something that I just saw something and I don't remember where it was, but they said that, this whole time we always thought that love was the highest vibration. You want to get to the love vibration, but it was actually authenticity.
Mm.
Yeah, is I bet. But if you're authentic, then you are in the love vibration, right? Because you're being
Mhm.
true. So then I'm like, okay, is it really, or is it because when you are in that love vibration, you are authentic and true? Yeah. So
Par
yeah,
course.
but I see the same in you. So don't forget that,
Mhm.
and remember,
Mhm.
I'm just a mirror of you. And
Mm.
so what you see in me is what you see in you. Yeah. But
See,
thank
this is why I love Katt.
Yeah. The moth to a flame for sure.
oh, I love you too.
I mean, yeah, you walked up onto the thing and I'm like, I'm not even gonna stop. And I don't even know what possessed me yet. That's not even kind of how I was the whole time. But I just saw you walk by and I'm like, I need something from her. Like there's
Yeah.
something there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a moment.
Yeah. No, I know this.
Everybody kept
Yeah.
mentioning your name around me. I'm like, okay, that's her. I need to go talk to her. I need to find out what
Yeah.
she knows. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what it is, but it's something.
Yeah,
So
the
that's
resident
the beauty.
intuitive Reiki person, right? As is
Mhm.
Tanya Nord. We know how amazing she is. My beautiful Reiki master is Tanya.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I get it. I get it. We all know who we're drawn to and who we're supposed to work with. You know that's the
Yeah.
one. That's just like me working with Cheryl. Like I knew that
Mhm.
in 101, I knew she was my person. And with Cheryl, you might have heard this when I was in class in 101, when I would see her, my crown chakra would start tingling. It would start
Mhm.
tingling. I'm like, it's so strange. And I would ask my friend that we'd always sit next to each other. And she's like, no, never felt it. Eventually,
Hmm.
without fully going into the story, I realized that, oh, that is my guides or my soul going, alert, alert, there she is. That's your mentor. So I've been so blessed to work with Cheryl for 21 years. So but I felt the same way when I saw Cheryl. So I understand that. And
Yeah.
my rock and roll friends too. Like I need to know that person because
Mhm.
there's a soul connection, that there's that, yeah, that soul connection. So yeah, I hear you. I love it.
I want to ask technician type question. I've been talking about suggestibility a lot. One of the things that I talk about with people that are concerned that, oh, I can't be hypnotized, or they have this idea of like, well, can everybody be? And it's like the response that I give is that yes, everyone can be, but not every hypnotherapist understands suggestibility in a way that can hypnotize you and work with you in a way that you need the work done. Like how does someone's suggestibility come into play with energy work or Reiki or intuitive development or healing, or like, can you talk a little bit about that? I'm curious if does it matter?
I mean, if we're focused on E&P suggestibility or just, well, I mean, my belief is, and we say this at school, that we're always going into hypnosis, right? No matter what. I mean, it's just
Right.
a hyper suggestible state where we're hyper focused on something. So whether it means they're reading a book and they don't hear somebody calling them, or a movie and they're just totally zoned, they're in the zone, so to speak. I think that people who might not be, I don't believe anybody isn't hypnotized. I believe everybody is hypnotizable. It's whether or not they want to be, if they want to allow it, or if their fear gets in the way, or the misunderstanding of what hypnosis really is. And that's why our pre-induction speech is really, really important,
Sure.
so that they understand what hypnosis is or isn't. Sometimes I think the word deep sleep just is, a lot of times I like to say deep trance, deep relaxation, because that, even when you dispel the myth of why we say deep sleep, still doesn't work for some people when I say that. So a lot of times I like to say deep relaxation or deep trance, and then that will help them resonate. And it's not just us that says deep sleep. It is, universal in a lot of hypnotists, no matter where their training is. So that's one of those things as far as somebody who thinks they're not hypnotizable. It's really just what they think hypnosis is and that it isn't. As far as when you do Reiki or intuitive, when you do Reiki or any form of energy work on somebody, you are already going into a theta state. I mean, they've already tested that, through the brain waves. So you're naturally going into a theta state. So that is another way to get them, into that relaxed state, knowing that beta is when we're wide awake, alpha is when we're starting to slip into hypnosis, theta, we're in hypnosis, delta, we're asleep, right? So when we're doing energy work, we're ultimately doing it, or intuitive work, we're automatically connecting into the theta state. Absolutely. And I believe personally that anytime we're doing hypnosis, we are doing the same thing. So even as the hypnotist, as the hypnotherapist, we are also connecting into that state. And how I know it's happening is if I slip up on my words. Like I did it yesterday. It was like a simple word, but it came out like, I don't even
I
I
know
couldn't
what
even
you're
believe it came
saying.
out the way it came out. And I'm just like, I can't even mimic it, what it was, but I was just like, okay, so that's my warning. You're going down too deep. Wake up, bring it up a notch.
Mm.
So that is, and thankfully, because, I do a bunch of the recording, I just stop and I'll say, that's right. And then I'll say it again. And then I go back and delete that piece because I don't want them to hear it again on the recording because it was so weird.
Yeah.
But that ability to do that. So did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Yes. Yeah.
So, well, rephrase it in a way. So maybe there's a way I'm not.
Because I only do hypnosis, right?
Mhm.
I'm very big on explaining the process and explaining what suggestibility means to them and why it's so important to figure out how they prefer to receive information.
Okay.
Um, but I don't, because in my brain, I'm thinking that's not necessary because it's energy versus, but words are energy. Like, so it's a little confusing. I'm trying to figure out, like, from your standpoint, if you're seeing someone for not hypnosis, but you're doing a Reiki session or a reading or something, suggestibility doesn't have anything to do with that, does it?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
That's
Okay. See,
kind of
I'm
what I was
sorry.
asking in a,
Oh, I got you. I
yeah.
misunderstood your question. Oh, well, you got some extra info there. Sorry about that.
It's all meant to
No,
be.
yeah, I never think about their suggestibility at all when I'm doing intuitive or any form of energy work.
Gotcha.
They're open to it. They're open to receiving. I already know that they're going to go into a theta state. So I don't think about it at all because it's not, but I think when I say that, we naturally know, like we understand suggestibility, right? The purpose of understanding somebody's suggestibility is how to talk to them to get them deepest into hypnosis, what is going to work for them, what they're going to receive, right? How they're going to receive it. I think that we automatically know that when we talk to people. I think the suggestibility questionnaire is amazing and it really helps us hone in. But as we're listening to people, and if we do believe that we have a team that is surrounding us, we are going to know exactly the right way to say things, even
Mm,
without the test. Does that make sense?
totally.
By
Yeah.
for in order for them to receive what they're here to receive. And ultimately, when it comes to giving messages about Reiki or intuitive or messages purely, we have to remember that, especially when it comes to intuitive, especially when it comes to hypnotherapists, we have to be careful and only plant positive seeds. So I like to go more along the lines of what Buddha says, and I believe it was Buddha. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Because the moment we hypnotize somebody or teach somebody, they put us on a pedestal, which I never want to be on. But I know the influence that we have on people. And I want to be very careful that whatever I say or do is not going to get in the way of what their journey is and their path is. And I can't say that enough, that we really have to be so careful. And that's use discernment, right? So for readers, intuitive readers, or even energy readers, I tell them you have to be very careful what you say. So for example, maybe hypothetically, they think that there's something going on with their physical heart. I would never say, I think you're having heart problems. There might be something you need to go get your heart checked out, right? Instead, I would say that I'm working in the heart chakra area. And I kept being called back there. So what's going on there with your energy and the heart energy?
Mm.
And then if they were to say, oh, that's interesting, my heart's been bugging me lately, then I
Mm.
would say, oh, well, that's not where I was going with that, but then maybe go get that checked out, but I have no idea if there's something wrong with your heart or not,
Yeah.
because I could plant a seed. Okay. Because they're, no matter what, intuitive and Reiki and hypnotherapy, they're very suggestible to us. It doesn't matter how much they are suggestible. They're coming to you for advice, right? They're coming to you for help in some shape, way, or form. Okay. So then we have to be so careful how we say something, because they might misinterpret what we're saying and then plant a seed. And then they're going to water it and watch it grow. And somebody who never had a heart condition can suddenly have a heart condition based off of something I said. And I don't ever want to cross over and watch my movie and realize that I caused anybody to have any form of illness or, any negative emotion. So I find that responsibility very strong.
It's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Words matter.
Words matter. And that's
Yeah.
where the suggestibility, to the long way of answering you. So it does matter. It doesn't matter how suggestible they are suggestible. If they're coming to you,
Right.
they are suggestible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone is suggestible.
Yeah.
Just depends on to what degree.
Right. Exactly. And I'm sorry, I know I keep itching my nose, but I've never had allergies before until this spring, which today is the summer solstice, by the way, as well. So
I am aware.
yeah. So hoping they go away, the whatever's bugging me. So
Uh-huh. Oh, you want me to ask another wonderful question?
Yeah, I mean, we're at the top of the hour, but we can.
Okay.
I don't know, Katt, what your constraints are today.
I'm good. Yeah. It's Saturday.
Was there a moment where you knew, like there was a clarifying moment for you where it was, yes, I can do this for other people, not just know like stuff, but I can know this for other people? Is there a moment there where there was some type of recognition where you could own it?
That's a good question. I think when I was doing music, my whole point was to make people happy, right? To help bring them up.
Mm.
So I don't think that there was, and then I was always in management positions as well. So I'm always helping people do better at their job, right? As much as possible. So I think I've always just been a natural helper. Does that make sense? Natural healer, natural helper. So when I got to HMI, I don't know. I don't know if there was one specific moment, but I can say that Cheryl was a huge influence on me, and watching her do the work and believe in me was what really was it. But ultimately, it was just a calling, it was a calling. So did you have a significant moment? I didn't have a significant moment that I can say it was just going to HMI. I knew. Does that make sense?
Right.
Not one specific thing. Yeah.
And then it kind of unfolded from there, like just kind of blossomed into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I should say it like this. Like, I always wanted to help people, even if they didn't want help. I wanted to help people. Right? So a little bit of that codependency as well. But as an empath, always feeling people's stuff and always wanting to help fix it because I knew what was going on with them, even if they didn't say anything. Right.
Right.
Then now I get to help people, which really makes my heart sing, right? Makes my vibration sing, but I get paid for it. And they come to me instead of me trying to
Right.
do it when people don't want the help. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it already
Absolutely.
was something that was in me. It was already something in me that just satisfied. What about you guys? Did you have that feeling?
I definitely think that, like I said, HMI kind of fosters that in you. And with the right mentors, of course, I'm biased to Cheryl, but with the right mentor, I think that kind of allows it to grow because everybody has the gifts, like in alignment with that statement. It's whether we pay attention to them and foster them and grow them. And I think HMI provides a place for people to see what they are actually capable of. And being in that environment, I think it kind of grows from there. on a personal level, like similar to you, always knowing what people are going through or feeling things that nobody's talking about, but you know are there, and then later on you find out, yes, you were right. So I've been doing that my whole life. So,
Right.
you know, this just gave me an opportunity to let it grow even more. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of being in the right place to do it.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I love it. What about you, Dawn? Did you know?
You know, I've been in this kind of how can I help mode for a long time. Like
Mhm.
I first got sober in 86
Right.
and was taught early on that it's about love and service. And it feels like just fast forwarding 40 years that it's really this safe haven that is created, the space at HMI that allowed me to see parts of me that it's kind of like a gentle like shaking of the shoulder saying, "Hey, wake up. Wake
Mhm.
up. Here's another new truth for you." That's what HMI was for me, is this kind of bringing it all together. I'd studied psychology, thought I was going to be a licensed marriage family therapist. I was going to save the family, don't you know, right? Coming from having caused a divorce in my own family. Um,
Mhm.
and I know how powerful it is to help people through those upheavals. But yeah, it was really, believe it or not, it was Marissa Peer. I watched a video online because I was part of Mind Valley, and
Mhm.
she had done some sort of like introductory thing, and I watched a video of her hypnotizing a group on YouTube, and I
Wow.
was sobbing, and it was like my chest got cracked open, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And of course, you know, my ex-wife at the time, Grace, had attended HMI after we had just gotten separated, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I
Yeah.
knew of HMI, and you know, the rest is history. I immediately connect, you know, to Mario and I fizzed out with each other, like I was just in love right out of the gates, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it
That's
just, I just
amazing.
knew, and I'm a big fan of the next indicated step, like just
Uh-huh.
do the next indicated right thing. And
Yeah.
I did pause. I went into
Yeah.
the stairwell and prayed. And I was like, is this the right next step?
Yeah.
And it
That's
wasn't clear to me. So I actually gave it a day, even though Mario did the whole soft close, which is, you know, we have a class starting on Monday, which, and it was
right.
Friday. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep on this because it's a
Yeah.
huge life-changing decision. And, you know,
Yeah.
and then of
It
course the
is. It
rest is
is.
history, but yeah.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because did Grace have to take that step first before you did, right? To have the experience and say, hey, this is a great place to go.
Right.
Interesting. Or what if you found it on your own? So interesting
She,
to
I
me. Yeah.
think she and I have intertwined through many a lifetime. And so the fact that she was my path here, it just totally makes sense. It's like,
Yeah. Isn't
you
that
know,
wild? I saw that while I was talking about it to you. So yes, absolutely. It was
yeah,
just that it was the energy hub, the vortex, the spaceship, as you call it, the meeting
calling.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah, the calling. And yeah, how profound. Profound, pretty cool. Yeah,
just
I love
totally
it.
made sense.
And I do want to add, for me, when I was at school, that's when the self-help industry also just blew up. So
Mhm.
we had between that and like I think I had graduated, already started to teach at HMI, but The Secret started, The
Mm.
Secret came out.
Right.
Do we know Joe Dispenza, as we know, came from HMI? I mean, he went there too. Wayne Dyer, the whole Hay House, when Hay House had
Yes.
Louise Hay and Wayne
Right.
Dyer, and the whole, I mean, it was such an amazing time in the self-help industry in the first place, that there was just no question that I was in the right place. None, zero. Nobody could believe it. Nobody could. When are you going to play? When are you going to go out, and when are we going to do another gig? And it's like, not feeling it. I literally, it's like the lights went out on my band and a full-blown lights went on for HMI. But if you look at my
Mm.
astrology chart, that's it. I have a yod is what they call it. So it's a my planets are not all over the place. They're really direct hits on each other, and it's an upside down Y, which they say is the finger of
Same,
God. And
same.
oh, you do. And it basically, that's cool. And it basically says you will do what you came here to do, in so many words. There is no, you're going to do it. And that's just, there's no if, ands, or buts. And that's really how it felt. It wasn't like it was not even really a decision. It was it was the awakening. This is where I belong. Like the music is great, but nothing is as amazing as this. And it's still that way 21 years later, because that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, it's yeah, you had no choice. You just have no choice. But I mean, if you don't have a yacht, it doesn't mean you don't have you have a choice. But it wasn't like I was longing for something else necessary. I wanted to be happy, but I in no way, shape, or form ever thought I would be a hypnotherapist with energy coming out of my hand, teaching hypnosis. And you know that is way, and teaching and, intuition. There's you just know that is source, that is divine, guidance. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like none of us grew up thinking we were going to be hypnotherapists, right?
No.
Which are master healers, in my opinion, so not that we're ever a master at anything when I say that, but nobody, I didn't think that. I don't know. I don't think anybody that goes to HMI thinks that they're going to grow up to be a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist and help others in that kind of a way. It's pretty phenomenal. I mean, it's how it's divine. Yeah.
Right.
It's a soul calling.
I walked in and signed the papers. I don't know if Mario even had to try.
Right.
I mean, I just walked in. I was like, this is where I need, out of nowhere. I just picked up the phone and called and then went in 3 hours later.
Yeah.
I just signed my name. I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah. Your soul knew. Me too. Yeah, me too. It didn't, I loved Shane was somebody who worked with Todd. You just said Todd still works at HMI, and Shane, she signed me up, and I'll never forget going. So I had to be at work like at 7 a.m, and class ended at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to be too tired. And she's like, no, you're going to get a second wind and you will not be tired. It'll be quite the opposite. And I was like, huh. And sure enough, she was right. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So many plugs for HMI.
It's kind of hard to not. It's just,
right? Because we love so much. Yeah.
The running joke is, no, we're not sponsored by HMI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah.
But,
because it's life-changing.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
I think the experience is life-changing, but I think what happens is that you become more of yourself at HMI.
Yeah.
You really get to know yourself.
If you stick with it. Yeah, absolutely. Because who I was as a student isn't who I am now. I mean, there's parts of me, of course, that are always part of it, but
but you wouldn't be who you are now without having gone to HMI. So that's why I'm saying, like, you get the opportunity.
Right. It's that
the launch pad.
aha moment. Well, it's also gives us, I don't know. I think not everybody's like this, but when you go to HMI, you're so attached to your story. Right. Everybody has a story and they drag that story along with them. And then when you're at HMI and you start to understand the mind and why people function in the way they do, you start to have more of lots of aha moments. And that's why I react this way. And that's why they react that way. And it starts to kind of take you from here to, now I get it. And I think that's you start to understand because we're behavioralists. We start to understand people's behaviors more. We don't take things as personally, and we learn how to interact with people and work with people on a level, and we get over our shit, as well.
Absolutely.
So it's even if somebody decided not to become a hypnotherapist, the first year of HMI is absolutely a year's worth of amazing therapy.
I think it's more than a year.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a year. Like, in other words, sometimes somebody might invest and go for a year and decide they don't want to be a hypnotherapist. That's fine. The first year, they just go the first year, not the second. That's fine. But they just got a year of life skills, understanding how to work with people. They will definitely use it somewhere. Even if they decide not to be a hypnotherapist, it is life changing. It cannot change your life. It cannot not change your life.
Absolutely. Agreed.
We 100% agree. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Agreed and aligned.
Yeah. So go HMI. No,
Yay team. Big day for HMI today, ironically.
Say it again.
Big day for HMI today. There's a all inclusive,
right.
all in person, like George is rolling out the new mental bank today.
That's right. Yeah, that's
I'm
going to be
excited
great.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in person, immersive.
Yeah.
Whenever I would read it to the class, experience. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I look forward to seeing the videos of that. I think
Yeah.
he's
Same.
a dynamic teacher. Just phenomenal. Yeah,
Yes,
wonderful.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
where can people find all your wonderful information, all of the services, everything they ever wanted to know and do?
If they went to, thank you, if they went to connectwithin.com, they'll find me there. I've had that Connect Within for the last 20 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So if they can just go there, connectwithin.com.
Cool.
And and maybe they'll join the soul group. Maybe they need a reading or hypnotherapy. Yeah, whatever it is they want, or a Reiki session.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
I'll put it in the
Connect
show
Within.
notes so it's a click away.
Mhm.
I like it. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your go. Is
Guys are
it?
so
That's
funny.
me?
I
It's
feel like
you.
I'm speechless.
It's
I'm like,
time.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to say at this point?
Well, you can say
Except
thank you. Let's start there.
thank you for
thank
joining
you.
us. I always say that. Yeah. Our subconscious speaks. The question is, are you listening?
Mm,
Oh, I like that.
yeah.
Yes,
That's our
absolutely.
tagline.
Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I
I'm so
love it.
grateful for
Yes.
you, Katt.
Always listening. Yeah, thank you. You too,
Love you
you
so
guys.
much.
Yeah, love you so much too. Love you so much too. And then when
Thank
you
you.
stop the recording, we can talk a little bit more. Yeah.
All right. So let's say goodbye to everybody. Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye. Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Always a joy and a pleasure. Thank you.